vocal exercises and you were just letting it go? My good. I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com in just a sec. In just one little sec, I'm going to be live on Facebook Live. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers and brothers, sisters and cousins, aunts and uncles, third cousins twice removed, and all of you. Welcome to On a Thin Line with Tony Vicich. I am Tony Vicich. This is your daily distraction from all the anger, anxiety, and hoopla going on in the world today. We come to you every day at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or Arizona time. Truth be told, Arizona is not on Mountain Standard Time right now, although it's in the Mountain Standard Time area, but we don't do daylight savings time here. Hello, Tina and Mike. Hello. Good to see you guys. So right now it's the same time here as it is in California. Then when daylight savings time is over, then we're an hour ahead of California, but never really. The only thing we'll be ahead in right now at that time will be 1 hour ahead, and we'll be number one in coronavirus cases. You know, a long time ago, somebody said when I was a young guy starting out. Thank you, Glenn. Glenn says, "Happy Coronavirus Day." What'd you get me? Somebody said, you know, you think you would see your name in the papers, but most of the time you don't. Most of the time you see your name in the papers, it's not good. To be in the news is not good. And certainly to realize that you are in the hot spot of the nation, coronavirus-wise, is not good. We're handling it. We're dealing with it. People are keeping their spirits up. People are doing what they can. But we're in the news. We're number one. We're number one. Our governor's name is Ducey, and he is a doozy. You know what? I don't know what it's like to be in their position right now, where they have to make these kind of decisions, and you keep hoping that you made the best decision, and you've got pressure from upstairs, i.e., the Trump administration, and pressure from downstairs from your health director and so many mayors in your city. You got all this pressure, and you just go, I just want to do the right thing. But if you're trained to do the right thing, if you're trained to do the most expedient thing, if you're trained to do the easiest thing, if you're trained to do what will be best for your small group, thinking that it will all trickle down to everyone else, you're probably going to make some tough decisions during tough times and wrong decisions. And right now, I think we all agree that this state opened up far. Just had an album kind of like a ghost, like an album kind of flipped behind me. Now you saw it, but damn it, I did. But a lot of wrong decisions have been made right now. A lot of wrong ones. We're seeing the people who stayed closed down for a long time able to keep a handle on their cases, and the people who opened up too early, it is running rampant. And then you've got California, where it's a mishmash because it's such a large place. So anyway, I hope you're safe. I hope you're sound. Tina might say, we're handing it to the Trump administration. Not. Tough time for everybody. So, but like I said, we're all making it through, and we make it through every day by taking a break, a diversion. This is an absolute diversion from everything that we normally do every day here in the home studios at ComedySchools.com. All the little minutia it takes to run a little currently home-based business, up to teaching classes and putting on shows, primarily on Zoom. And I got a great one for you this Sunday, by the way. This Sunday, if you're looking to be entertained, and who isn't looking to be entertained on Sunday? Sunday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Arizona time, it's the return of Tony Vicich Presents Sunday Night's Funnier. 4 great comics, some that you already began to follow. Guys like Travis Minor will be on the show Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Easy to purchase tickets. Go to ComedySchools.com or ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com, and the link will be there, and you can purchase tickets for this great show. When you purchase a ticket for that show, you are purchasing 3 things. You're purchasing entertainment. Yes, you are. And great entertainment, I might add. You are buying into the American economy because we use portions of the proceeds to pay the comics. And you are being charitable because portions of the money goes to local food banks in our area here. 3 things for $10. 3 for 10. 3 for 10, ladies and gentlemen. So we got that going on. Also, hello, Kelly. Hello, Randy. Also, Thursday night, it's class 2 of our beginning comedy workshop. Still not too late to join. I got to do something new. I got to do something outside of the box. I got to do something different. I'm starting to settle in. Just go to comedyschools.com and pay and register there, or write me here on Messenger, or write me at comedyschools@hotmail.com. We can get you signed up. Are you starting to go through that? Are you like settling in a little ways that you didn't really think that you would? I lost a lot of weight at the beginning of this. It's slowly starting to come back. I was eating healthier. I'm starting to junk food it out a little more. So not saying happy and not saying normally comfortable, but as we become comfortable with this, at the beginning, a lot of us went, all right, I'm going to use this time productively. Okay, and I'm going to take care of my body. I'm going to take care of my health. I'm going to clean up my house. I'm going to paint. I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to learn how to play guitar. I'm going to learn a new language. I'm going to learn comedy. A lot of us started doing that. But slowly, after a while, we start slipping back into an old routine, into our old ways, And you know what? If your life is constant excitement can become boring. And if your life is kind of constant, not excitement, which most of our lives are right now, then the boredom comes easily. With boredom comes inertia. So don't do that to yourself. Rededicate yourself to that workout program. My big problem now is part of mine was walking my dog an hour every morning, and man, it's just too hot to walk a dog right now. Even the dog's not complaining. Tina Michael said spicy Cheez-Its. I was just eating some. That's what, I had breakfast this morning, and then I thought, well, I don't want to eat a big meal right before the show, so I thought I'll have a little snack. We got tons of delicious, healthy food, good food and healthy food in our refrigerator. I went right to the pantry and got out the hot and spicy Cheez-Its. And God damn it, I'll admit it right now, along with a couple of small Reese's peanut butter cups. So that's what inspired it. If I'm doing it, maybe other people are doing it. Maybe other people are slipping into some sort of inertia and back to bad habits. But we're not going to do it. We're going to learn something new. We're going to do new things. I'm looking for new ways to reinvigorate the business and looking for other fun hobbies that I can do that are fun, that I can learn. Maybe I'll learn another language. You know what might be cool? Oh, I do not have any of my mustache. No, I don't. That's a lie. I might learn another language, or I might actually learn how to speak proper English. Who knows? All right. This show is built around 3 things, ladies and gentlemen. Your questions or comments left on Facebook Live, YouTube, on Comedy Schools, or on ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com. Some of you are already having fun with the comment section. I don't. How about YouTubers? You see the Cheez-Its? No, there's not. There's not. Okay. Do I have any on my shirt? No, none that you can tell. I tend to get food on my shirt. How much do I tend to get food on my shirt? My daughter, Alicia, and I go to a lot of basketball games together, or have up to this point. And I was there, I think, with her and with my wife, Shirley, one time we're eating. And all of a sudden I go, I got mustard on my shirt. And Alicia's been going to basketball games with me since she was 10 for, a couple of decades. And I went, it's not a basketball game till my dad gets mustard on his shirt. So I don't think I got anything on this one, though. So we're having fun with the comments. I also share with you some knickknacks, memorabilia, autographs, mementos, useless trinkets that I have here on the home office. And I recommend 2 pieces of music or 2 artists based on my vast vinyl album collection. And I'm going from yin to yang on the music today, you guys. Yin to yang. One that I have a personal connection with, someone who I know, and one that I have no personal connection with, except that I love their music. But let's get to the stuff. I'm going to show you. I got another book today. So here, look at this. So this is, you see that? What does that say? That says Comedy USA Talent Directory. And this was the indispensable Bible for anyone who is booking comedy clubs. This one came out in 1996. There was a thicker one you could order too. But this listed every working comic in the country, and in this particular one, every manager or agency. Every one. And you could buy advertisements and stuff. But if you were doing what I was doing in 1996, which was a hybrid thing of owning a club touring as a comic, and also booking shows around the country. This you had to have, and now it is useless. They went out of business a number of years ago because online just made it useless. But this was the end. This was the only gathering where you went, we need to get a hold of so and so. Let's find out who their agent is. You could look at them up, and it would list their agent, or you could look at the agency and see who they handle. And it made booking comics very, very easy. The weird thing is, as I go through it, the people who rose, the people who fell, the people who disappeared, seeing names here that I haven't thought of since the 90s. Just came across the name here, Mark McCullum. Mark McCullum was considered one of the best and funniest acts coming out of the Holy City Zoo in the 1980s. Incredibly funny guitar act. Nobody could follow him. Good-looking guy. Came down to Los Angeles, and supposedly his signature piece, that is just a story, which was Elmer Fudd singing Stairway to Heaven, which was hilarious. I first heard it from Robin Williams, and supposedly that was one of those infamous stories of where Robin lifted someone's bit and used it. There were stories about Robin Williams, incredibly talented guy, great actor, great performer, great empathy, able to crawl in the skin of others and really, really, really inhabit a character in a way that made him compelling to watch. And funny man on stage, was not the best writer in the world. That's the way it goes a lot of times. Oftentimes the best performer is not the best writer. The best writer is not the best performer. There are those that are a combination of two. That is what we try to teach you at comedyschools.com, how to develop both of those traits. But supposedly lifted them. Supposedly that pretty much devastated Mark. The excuse I heard about Robin Williams is he would watch you laugh his ass off. 3 days later, totally forget. The thing would pop back in his head and totally forget that he heard you say it. He was just a sponge, constantly absorbing things. And some of the things he absorbed was other people's acts. Mark McCullum also had problems because he was a guitar act, and it was hard to have him on television because then you have to pay musical rights, and those can become expensive. You know, when you see a movie like Casino, Martin Scorsese's Casino, and you hear all the music in it, there was tens of millions of dollars just spent on musical rights. You know, there is a series of scenes that takes place in Casino, and you realize what a genius Martin Scorsese is, because it's a series of scenes dealing with not Robert De Niro's character. Why am I blanking on a name that I've known my entire life? Not Robert De Niro's character, but Joe Pesci's character. Yeah, that's right, Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci's character, dealing with him being a robber out in Vegas, and the whole time they play the entire "Can't You Hear Me Knocking" by the Rolling Stones, which is about a 7.5 minute song with a voiceover from De Niro, and it's an incredible piece of film because he plays the entire song and it never breaks. But it must have cost him a fortune to buy that song, and there's other great songs in that movie. But Mark McCullum was a music actor. Because he was a music act, it was hard for him to get on television, and I haven't heard from him in about 20 years. I hope he's doing well. Anyway, this is something you had to have. It's just an example of, here's a guy, Doc Barham. I don't know whatever happened to Doc. Doc's still around, I think, maybe. Who else we got in here that were around? Anyway, just an example of how technology puts some things out of business, you know, because all of a sudden this indispensable book that you had to have so that you could track everybody down, the internet made that totally unnecessary because you could just find them on the internet. John Ratzenberger's in here. John Ratzenberger, who played one of the two guys that played the postman, hung out at the bar stool in the TV show Cheers. He's down here as a stand-up comic. Some guys went on. Brad Reeder is listed as a comic with Laugh Tracks Comedy, but he went on to become a club owner and bought one of the best clubs in the country, Charlie Goodnight's. Anyway, I could go down memory lane with this book forever, but just to give you an idea of things that one time were indispensable that are totally useless. This talent directory from Comedy USA, which was the Bible for everybody into business, is now by the wayside because of the internet. And that happens with so many things, doesn't it? Like, you know what happened with floppy disks? Remember floppy disks? You know, totally useless. How many of you have things? I have things out my garage that you bought that were indispensable for storing stuff on your computer, or old PCs, desktop PCs. Hardly anybody buys those anymore. And we move along rapidly, but we really moved rapidly along away from paper product to read on, which is why I think a lot of us don't read books anymore. Not that a lot of us read books to begin with, but the internet and reading on our phone may have destroyed the entire, really done damage to the printing industry. Some say that's good because you use less trees, you cut down less trees, but they'll find another reason to cut down trees that is not as fulfilling as reading a book. Michael Austin says, I have a floppy dick. Well, good for you, and thanks for sharing. Thank you so much. All right, let's get to the music, okay? The first one falls in that category of albums I've had since they first came out. I saved up and bought this album. This is, and it's a perfect look at a time and a place and a type of music. This is the Grateful Dead's very first album. Grateful Dead's very first album. So you can see it pretty good there on YouTube. Look at that cover. And see, I've owned it for a long time. Just look how beat up it is. So there's the boys. There's the original lineup. Okay. And the original lineup was Bob Weir, Pigpen, Bill the drummer, Jerry Captain Trips Garcia, and Phil Lesh. So it's important to note that when they talk about Dead and Company now, and this is not a put down or hey, this is bullshit thing. Talk about Dead and Company. They talk about three of the original members, but Mickey Hart, they have two drummers, Bill Kreutzmann and Mickey Hart. Mickey Hart was not an original member of the Grateful Dead. The original were Bob Weir, Rod McKernan, whose nickname was Pigpen, Bill Kreutzmann, Jerry, and his nickname was Captain Trips Garcia, for reasons so very obvious if you ever read a little bit about him, and Phil Lesh on bass. So on this album, they did Golden Road to Unlimited Devotion, Beat It On Down the Line, Good Morning Little Schoolgirl, Cold Rain and Snow, Sitting on Top of the World, Cream Puff War, Morning Dew, New Minglewood Blues, and Viola Lee Blues. And I think the only one that they wrote, let's take a look. Almost all of these were old blues tunes. What's amazing is how much of rock music was based on music of the 20s and 30s. Golden Road to Unlimited Devotion was not written by them. Beat On Down the Line was written by Jesse Fuller, great old blues hollerer. Good Morning Little Schoolgirl by a guy named H.D. Damaris. Cold Rain and Snow, not written by them. Sitting on Top of the World. Cream Puff War was written by Jerry Garcia. One. And then going to side two, Morning Dew, beautiful anti-war song done by many, but really owned in a sense by the Grateful Dead, by Dobson and Rose. New Minglewood Blues by someone else, and Viola Lee Blues. So on their first album, the Grateful Dead only had one original composition. And the rest were old blues tunes. That's how so many of those guys learned how to play, was by playing old blues songs, playing those because they were so the forerunners of rock and roll. Hold on, I want to do something here. Sometimes what's cool with these things is what goes on the inside, on the inner sleeve. So the inner sleeve here lists out all a lot of the bands that Warner Brothers had on their label. On their country label, they had Johnny Rodriguez, Statler Brothers, Farron Young, Clifford Brown, and their rock category, they had Kraftwerk, Ray Manzarek by himself, Golden Scarab, Neil Merriweather, and the New York Dolls. I didn't know they went that far back. On the back of it was a bulletin. Look at that. How much more did America used to read? We used to read the inner sleeves. And this was Buyer's Bulletin, Tape Piracy, Everyone's Problem. And a whole article about how you make sure that you don't buy pirated music, which if you were a poor kid from Jefferson County you didn't care about, because you had to save up sometime a month to get an album like this. So if you want to listen to something cool, just put in YouTube Grateful Dead's first album, and what you'll hear is a sound that really isn't used anymore, but has grown, which was dubbed psychedelic music or acid rock, which they probably not on purpose, but quite organically created. So it's a real snapshot in time to go back and listen to the Grateful Dead, not the live versions, because the live versions mutated into something completely different, but the very first recording of the Grateful Dead doing Morning Dew, and just hear the difference. Hear the difference in how they sounded just a few years later, how nothing in music sounds like that now, but so much grew out of it. Okay, all right. So the next album, like I said, we were going to go from one thing completely to another. This is from the 80s now. Okay, here we are. Jack Wagner, ladies and gentlemen. Jack Wagner. That's right. I own a Jack Wagner album. Jack Wagner album. Jack Wagner had one, and by the way, this album was produced by Quincy Jones. I know Jack Wagner is, for years, he was on General Hospital. I think he was on Melrose Place, maybe the new Melrose Place. Good-looking guy. Infamous, and he'd probably hate me for bringing this up, that when HBO and Showtime were new, Showtime did the first all-nude soap opera. So it was a soap opera, only the bedroom scenes, everybody was naked with simulated sex, and Jack was in that. His one hit off of this album was All I Need. All I Need is just a little more time to be sure. Jack also went on to do a lot of Broadway stuff. An avid golfer. Sometimes you'd see him on celebrity golf shows. I'm pretty sure that All I Need was... I thought Quincy Jones produced that song for him. I could be wrong. So why do I have a Jack Wagner album? Okay, first off, All I Need is a pretty good song, a pretty good 80s song. Right up there with Paul Young and Every Time You Go Away and songs like that. If you like those sort of love songs, those pop-ish love songs. I knew Jack Wagner really well. Jack Wagner is from Washington, Missouri, which is about 15, 20 miles south of House Springs, Missouri. He was from Washington, Missouri. One night while I was taking a leak at a bar in West Hollywood where I attended a bar called Sloan's, this guy said, "Hey, I heard you're from St. Louis. I'm from St. Louis, too." And I went, "Good for you, pal." I was a little burnt out in those days. I'd gone from sex, drugs, and rock and roll to just drugs. And later on, when I started tending bar down in Brentwood, California, at a place called Mom's Saloon, he was a doorman for a while. He'd already been on Showtime. In the nude soap opera. It was now between gigs, and he was the doorman, and we became pals. He used to hang out at the house. We all went to a Dodger game together. The next time I saw him at a Dodger game, after he and I, my brother Jerry went, we all sat in the bleachers, saw the St. Louis Cardinals play the LA Dodgers. He was singing the national anthem. None of us had any idea that he was that good of a singer. And then not too long after that, he told me that he might have something going with one of the soap operas, and he got on General Hospital and had a very long career there. I was always a little surprised that he only had one hit song. Incredible voice. I mean, not opera, but a great voice. They could have lent itself to a lot of other stuff, but only one hit. That was it. I guess the acting career settled into soap operas. But he has certainly had a long run in that area. I know they did a couple of Broadway shows. So I knew Jack Wagner. This album was given to me by a guy who sometimes watches a show named Eric Snyder, who now either owns a bar or attends a bar in Las Vegas. And right around the time, I knew Jack all the way up to the mid-'80s. I even went to one of his concerts at the Wiltern Theater. He got me tickets, and I went and saw the show. And then after that, I kind of lost track of him over the years. I think my brother Jerry's ran into him a little bit around town. My brother Jerry still lives in that part of Los Angeles, where every once in a while, in the grocery store, you see a celebrity. Matter of fact, Jerry lives about just a few miles from where all the Kardashians live, but you don't see them in grocery stores. They send their minions to do that sort of thing. So Jack Wagner, one big hit in the mid 80s, All I Need, then morphed into a decades-long acting career on General Hospital and then some of the nighttime soap operas. But I knew him when he was a doorman at a place called Mom's Saloon in Brentwood, California, in San Vicente. So you never know where it's going to go, ladies and gentlemen. But I tell you where the show's going to go right now. It's going to go to sleep for 24 hours. I'm not going to sleep, but the show will be off for 24 hours. But we will be back with you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with another thrilling edition of Living on a Thin Line with Tony Vicich. Thanks for watching today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, YouTubers.